Greetings, loved ones. Today we're going to talk about how to face your abuser in court. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit that like button. Hit the notification bell. Hit the share button and share these messages with others, because you never know. Just by doing so, you could save a life. Today we're going to discuss 6 tips for facing an abuser in court. Creating a plan for this can help alleviate your fear. You know, leaving an abusive partner is often not the last time a survivor is going to see their abuser. When there are criminal charges being filed, an order of protection to be secured, a marriage that must be dissolved, assets to be divided, or child custody that must be decided, facing one's abuser in court is a likely scenario. And it's normal for this to cause fear and anxiety in a survivor. I always tell my clients to remember that this is the time that the power is in your hands. Just go, tell your story, every detail of what happened, so the judge can understand your suffering. I know it can be frightening, and it brings all kinds of emotions talking about the memories. But when a survivor can tell their story, give their testimony, the suffering and your abuser no longer have power over you. You have the power. There is great power in testimony. Abusers have been known to use the court system as another way to exert power and control over their victims through manipulation, threats, intimidation, or simply out-lawyering their ex-partners with a pricey attorney. That's why it is important to be prepared. Creating a safety plan after you leave your abuser is as important as creating one for the moment you first walk out the door. So here are 6 steps to consider if a court date with your abuser is approaching. Number 1, visit the courthouse ahead of time. You'll feel more confident if you know where you're going, where the courthouse is located, what courtroom your case will be in. It will also help you feel more secure to know the layout and process in the court beforehand. Scope out the parking lot. Is there a place to park where you won't be isolated and possibly confronted by your abuser or friends and family without people nearby? You might also consider borrowing someone else's car that your abuser cannot identify. If you're concerned for your safety, you can see if someone can come with you to your court date. If a friend or family member is not available, a local domestic violence advocate should be able to accompany you. You can also contact local law enforcement and ask if there's someone stationed at the courthouse who can provide you an escort for you to and from your car on the date of the court. Number 2, and this is really important, leave the children at home. Leave them at home or with a trusted person. Seeing your abuser can put you and your children at risk emotionally and physically, and it can be a stressful environment for your children, and they do not need that. Number 3, try to arrive before the abuser. You can do this to avoid running into your abuser the day of in the parking lot or lobby, and try to arrive well beforehand. Allotting extra time is also important in the case of traffic delays or a potential line to get into the courthouse if there are metal detectors. And if you are late to arrive in court, your case might be dismissed. It also gives you time to get to your courtroom or where you will wait before your abuser arrives. You can avoid seeing him or interacting with him. Number 4, stay with the person you came with. Inside the courthouse, make sure to not separate yourself from the person you came with to lessen the chances that your abuser will isolate you and try to intimidate you. If you must use a public bathroom, ask the person who came with you to go with you. Also, see if there's a place you can wait for your case to be called where you won't have to come into contact with your abuser or his family and friends. Number 5, don't speak to the abuser. Let me start with this. You do not have to speak to your abuser, so don't. Even if you think it's safe, stay away from your abuser and anyone he brings with him to court. Your abuser or those with him might try to coerce you into changing your testimony. Ask the bailiff or courthouse security to keep your abuser away from you. Let them know if you have a restraining order And that restraining order, it still applies in the courthouse. Number 6, let the abuser leave first. At the end of the hearing, let your abuser leave first so he or she can't follow you. Wait a good amount of time before leaving, and then leave through a different door than the main exit. If you feel unsafe, ask a police officer or sheriff to walk you to your car. If you feel more comfortable leaving first, you can also request your abuser to be held in the courtroom for 10 minutes or so while you exit. This is what I usually do with clients. We get the heck out of there before he or his companions can leave. In rural areas, it may be more difficult to avoid your abuser, which is why it's vital to ask for an escort to your car. And if your abuser seemed angry in court, it may also be a good idea to stay with a friend or relative that he or she doesn't know until you feel safe to return home, or arrange to spend the night in a domestic violence shelter if possible. Remember, the power is in your hands. You don't have to speak to or be near your abuser before the hearing. There are people in the court who can help you stay safe and feel calm. This is your moment to shine and show the judge what a wonderful and strong, loving woman you are and how much you have suffered. You can do this. With 1 in 3 women experiencing domestic violence worldwide and 15 million children witnessing the violence every year, the question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called. We are all called to be champions of justice. Those who suffer violence, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will step out, reach out to them to give them the courage and the help they need to leave before it's too late. Help us get these messages out. That's why we're doing them. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button. Hit that notification bell. Hit the share button. Share these messages with others. You never know, just by doing so, you could save a life. And if you're a victim of violence, listen to me. I want you to know that you are valued, you are loved, you are intelligent, and you're beautiful. God doesn't want you to suffer violence. He doesn't want you to live. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. There is a way out. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Abuse is not love. And if you're a victim of violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911. And if you know of a child who is suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we will talk about preparing for a permanent protection hearing. Until then, God bless you.